Are you a prisoner to your past? Hey there, I'm Sharon Pope. I help strong and successful women who are struggling in disconnected marriages get the confidence and clarity they need to either fix the struggles in their marriage or be able to move forward without regret. If you like what you hear, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. So today we're talking about whether or not you are a prisoner to your past. And what I will offer is that you may not even be aware of how your past is playing out in your present. Now, as a coach, I don't spend a ton of time digging through all the childhood wounds of my clients. We talk about it on the very first time that we get together, but we don't spend a ton of time there. And the reason for that is number one, my clients usually are pretty self-aware. They've usually had some form of therapy, so they know what some of those childhood wounds are. But the other thing is that when they show up, and they always do in the context of this work, they're usually very easy to see and it becomes very obvious. But where we do spend some time is me helping them understand what might be going on with their spouse in terms of why they choose to do what they do, why they say what they say, why they make the choices that they make, because they don't understand why their spouse makes the choices that they do. And there's always a reason for it. So once we can understand what's going on with them, then we have more information to be able to work with. But we also can find compassion for a wound that they're probably still carrying, as opposed to just rushing to judgment or anger with our partner. We all have wounds that we carry from childhood. Some of them are what you would consider traumas, and some are just wounds. And some of them we're aware of, and some of them we're not. But if we don't heal them, they are still playing out, and they will continue to play out in our lives until we become conscious of them and heal those and choose something different for ourselves. So let's talk about what some of these behaviors might be. So why would someone be controlling, for instance? Well, if you grew up in a home where you felt like you didn't have much power over your own life and your own choices, then what's going to happen is that you are going to then later in life try to control other people. You're going to try to control circumstances, most of which you can't change. And then you're going to try to control other people, which is also very unwieldy. People are very uncontrollable. But the other thing that will happen is that you will seek out relationships with people who are willing to be controlled, right? Because that's how the puzzle pieces come together. If you have to control, then I have to find someone who's willing to be controlled. That's how the puzzle pieces come together, right? So I have a client right now where she grew up with a very strict religious upbringing. And she was told, like, this is how you think, this is how you feel, this is what is right, this is what is wrong. You will not question, you will not doubt. This is how it is. And lo and behold, now she's in a 20-year marriage where she is the controlling one. And her husband was willing to be controlled. And that's one of the reasons why they're struggling today. So let's take another example. Why would someone be a people pleaser? I know this is going to speak to a lot of you women, so pay attention. Why would you be a people pleaser? Well, think about it. Let's say you're a kid and you're growing up in this world. And when you do the things that your parents or your teachers want you to do, what do? They give you accolades, they shine their light on you, they love on you, and it feels amazing, right? But then when you're doing the things that they don't want you to do, they pull that away. The accolades stop coming. You might even get some words coming at you, but the love, the light is sort of pulled from you. And so what do you learn very quickly? Your psyche is like, oh, I know how to navigate this. If I want love from someone and I want adoration from them, then all I have to do is just do what they want me to do. So of course, I'm just going to please everyone else and put all their needs before my own. There's also a thought that's running in the mind of a people pleaser that's like, oh, if I put everyone else's needs before my own, then surely they will show love in return in the exact same fashion. So they will put my needs before their own. How often does that happen? Not very often. So those people will grow up and they will usually go into caregiving professions, like a nurse, someone where you are literally paid and rewarded to put everyone else's needs before your own. They also will create codependent relationships, and they will be in relationship with people who need them and need them to prioritize their needs above your own. So that's where people pleasing begins. And that's where we end up doing this as adults. And we don't understand how we got here. That's how we got here. So why would someone be a workaholic? Let's think about that for a second. Why would they? This should be an easy one. So if growing up, I always got accolades for getting good grades or academic achievements or being on a winning team in terms of sports, right? If I always got my kudos in life from what I produced, then I have to be about production. My value as a human being is literally wrapped up in what I achieve and what I produce. So of course, I'm going to put the pedal to the metal at work and get all the accolades there. So it just translates into our adult lives. Two more really quickly. Why would someone be emotionally avoidant? Well, if you grew up in a household where the love from your parents was not a guarantee, or their presence in your life was not a guarantee, and you didn't have that kind of closeness as a family, then when you grow up as an adult, you are not going to feel comfortable or even necessarily safe with a lot of intimacy or closeness emotionally. I remember, because I grew up in a household that didn't have a lot of like love and affection and all that kind of stuff. Like I knew my parents loved me, but we never said it. I'm just supposed to know. And there wasn't a lot of hugging and all that kind of stuff. So when I was dating the person who became my first husband, his family was very affectionate, and they were always like hugging me and saying, I love you. And I was like, I literally froze for like the first several months when they would do that, because I didn't know what to say or do. It was so foreign to me. Now, fortunately, I have healed that. I have understood it, healed it, and chosen something different for myself. But I can completely understand where just our comfort level is different based upon how we grew up. And likewise, why would someone be emotionally needy? Well, if their parents were supportive and there for them, but only occasionally, and they could never really trust whether they had that support or not, like they couldn't bank on it, then that's the person who's going to grow up and they're going to need more language. They're going to need more words. They're going to need more reassurance from you that your love is still there and your love is still real and all that kind of stuff. So lots of people might look at that and say, oh, they're emotionally needy. Well, they just need more reassurance. That's all. And it's because of how they grew up. That's all that's happening. So the childhood wounds are really an important indicator of why people behave the way they do in adult lives, and particularly in their relationships. All this childhood stuff is going to show up in your most intimate relationship. And the reason for that is because it's a safe place to do it. And it's the place where we are most vulnerable. You can keep your guard up from 9 to 5, almost, 5 days a week without too much trouble, but you can't keep it up 24/7, right? For the rest of your life. And so these patterns and wounds are going to play out. So hopefully you have either found yourself in one of these and you understand yourself a little better, or this sounded familiar to you from maybe your partner's perspective, and now you understand your partner a little better. But if you are wanting to try to understand why the two of you are struggling and see if the relationship can move past it or not, but you want to be able to get to an answer for yourself about whether to stay or go in the marriage, then I would encourage you to go to clarityformymarriage.com, and you can take your steps forward to explore if there's a fit for you and I to work together. If you like what you heard, I hope you will subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be notified every time we post a new video, which is every week, then at the end of this video, just click the red icon in the upper left corner. Until next time, take good care.